Alright, and here's the video for Transformers Prime Powerizer Voyager Optimus Prime. Now he is the same red-blue truck we've seen before. We have actually seen him, unlike Megatron, who just had the Deluxe previously. We've had a Deluxe Prime as well as the first edition Voyager Prime, which is supposedly now canceled in the US. And all in all, I think the new Voyager has a better truck mode. The weapons are a little lamer, and we'll get into that. He has the Powerizer gimmick and a sword. But you see, like his windows don't seem as smushed because there's no fake window to cover them up in robot mode. Just overall, I think a little bit better proportioned as a truck here in vehicle mode. And that's not to say that the first edition is bad in vehicle mode. I just feel like this one captured the proportions a little better of an actual truck as opposed to like this really long front proportionally to these tiny, tiny windows. And again, part of that is because of the transformation gimmick on this one where it has fake windows to come up and cover the chest. This one actually doesn't cheat that. These windows become the chest windows. And we'll show you that in just a second. But yeah, all in all, a little less detail. And at first I thought with these pieces back here, it was going to have a very similar transformation to the previous Voyager, and it actually turns out that he doesn't. So yeah, they did some neat things with this, but all in all, I think it's in vehicle mode at least, it's a very, very nice looking figure. Now to transform this one, we're just going to come back here. You go ahead and pop the weapons off. Now the weapons, you can there's two holes back here. You can plug them in individually, or you can plug them here in the center. You can plug the sword into the bottom of the gun and plug them here in the center. Now the center is just the 2 feet pressed together and held together by the friction of this tab up here, holding them together. So this isn't exactly the tightest hole to hold the weapons, but it is functional. It does hold them, and they won't fall out if you flip it around. But I mean, they don't fit as tightly as they do into these 2 side holes. Just to let you know. But anyway, so you want to open these panels, bring them down like that. Pull these panels down like this. Again, the feet come out form the trailer hitch, and form regular feet like that. And then these panels come down and tab in kind of. They don't really tab in all that tightly. And that was an issue that the previous one had too. They sit there, but for some reason these shin panels just don't like to peg in all the way, or very solidly on either figure. So there's that. And that okay, fairly standard. Here's where it gets really neat because you want to pull these panels down, open these up like this, because the arms are actually this piece all the way through to this piece around the windshield. So you pop these top pieces off like that, and then you want to pull these out, and you rotate these pieces forward, and then you flip this piece. Okay, go ahead and flip this piece around, and there's his head. These pieces come up onto the back, which does give him a bit of a back cape, but we'll get into that in a minute. But then this whole chest assembly flips up and down, and rotate these around. But you can see the windows angle and plugs into his chest. So his actual chest piece is made up of the windows from the truck. It doesn't cheat that. And then you just bring the arms down, flip the fist down, rotate it, and then you flip these panels in to give him the shoulder detail. And the shoulder panels come down and actually do peg all the way in to his, there we go, peg all the way into his shoulders. And there is Prime in robot mode. I'll go ahead and zoom in and back up. There we go. Now you'll notice he's got some red detailing on mine that you may not see in other shots because I detail them. It seems like for the Prime line, your best weapon is just a red Sharpie. I used it to detail Starscream's missiles and head crest. These pieces right here were all gray, and I colored them in to give him the red that he needed there. And also the forearms. The forearms were actually originally this clear blue, and just one pass over with the Sharpie, now they're translucent red. You could paint them solid red if you want, but I don't mind the translucent red. It keeps the gimmick, which doesn't work all that well, but it keeps the gimmick functional of the clear forearms, as well as gets rid of that blue there on the forearm. And I think it works. Now, he does have this big cape on the back that the previous Voyager doesn't have, or at least not to this degree, and the wheels are tucked in back here. a little bit of a drawback. All in all, though, I think the first edition is a much more screen-accurate looking figure. I think the Voyager is more of a fun figure. But that's up to you. He does have the sword, which he can hold in his hand, as well as the Powerizer gun, which, and again, this was on a spring. I have pulled the spring out and tightened the joint so you can leave it extended, and it's still, just like that, the friction of the joint still activates the LED there on the arm. But this way you can have the gun extended out without it automatically collapsing back into this thing. So it can fold it up for storage, and it stays there. Flip it out for gun mode, and it stays there. And that pegs right into his arm. And like I said before, you can still activate the LED gimmick if you want to. So yeah, there's that. Also, he can, indeed, many people have asked, I just have the gun here, but he can hold the first edition's gun. And it actually looks pretty good on him. So there you go, you can do that as well if you don't like the Powerizer gun. Oh! Yikes. Okay. That was my fault. Just smacked the tripod there. Now, for a size comparison here, let's see if maybe turning the flash on helps this at all. Focus. There we go. Here he is with the first edition Prime. And you can see he's a little shorter. He's not quite as tall as the first edition Prime. And like I said, robot mode-wise, first edition definitely takes the cake here. I think it looks more accurate. It has less of a backpack. He does still have a backpack, but it's less obtrusive. It gets the stack sitting at a more awkward angle. He does have the proper wheels there in the shoulders and everything. But like I said, this one's still very fun. So it's really up to you. This one also a little bit more in scale with the Voyager Megatron. He's actually a little shorter than Megatron, which is where he should be, whereas this one is taller. So it's really up to you which one you want. Although the first edition is apparently right now hard to get. But like I said, a little bit of modification with the red, with no taking apart, red Sharpie. That's all you need. This one's actually a very nice figure too, and just as much fun, I find. So yes, be upset if you can't find the first edition, but don't be too upset because you've got a perfectly serviceable, perfectly nice figure right here to mess with. And it's up to you to decide if the first edition is worth spending the extra money on. But size comparison-wise with the other Prime figures, here he is with Bulkhead. And again, I like this scale. He's definitely taller than Bulkhead, but still makes Bulkhead look kind of bulky and massive next to him. Here he is with Wheeljack and Cliffjumper, which are the other Autobots I have here with me. So all in all, he's a little smaller than the first edition, but he's not really out of scale with other figures in the line. So yes, if I had to say, if money was no object and availability was no object, I would say definitely, if you had the option, pick up the first edition one. Seeing as how the first edition one is harder to get now, and prices seem to be going up on that due to the fact that Hasbro said that there won't be any more first edition shipments in North America or the U.S. If you can't find or spare the money for the first edition, just as reasonable. Like I said, this and a $1.50 Sharpie at that, and you've got a great figure. And even without the red, he's still a very nice figure. It doesn't change anything about him physically, but aside from the color. So yeah, like I said, if somebody says, hey, you can have one of these, first edition or Powerizer, pick the first edition. But don't feel bad picking this guy up. He's actually pretty decent. So there you have it, Transformers Prime Voyager Optimus. Available now for pre-order at TF Source. Great toys, excellent service. Why go to the store when you can go to the source? tfsource.com.